Awesome. Thanks, Dylan. That was great, Megan. I love that I get to follow you up because this fits so seamlessly together because customer retention is also my jam. And so we just saw the marketing side of post-purchase experiences of how you can follow up, make sure that your customers know about all the different programs you have. And so today I'm going to be talking about within those transactional emails that Megan just talked about, how you can further maximize those emails as customers are literally waiting for their order to get to their doorstep. So I know we're all here because we're either looking for what our peers are doing, what the new tech stack is, what the trends say, or everyone is just overwhelmed with tariffs. So that I know that there's a lot. But that's why I want to hone in on this strategy because it is easier to meet your customers where they already are looking and maximizing those efforts. So before we get into those three unique ways to really build out this new type of growth channel within transactional emails, I want to just set the scene really quick because not all operators even know that you can do this. And I'm going to get into some of those reasons as to why. So I want to set the stage with what I call stage one of this strategy. And then the stage two will be diving deeper into those unique approaches that can really set you apart. So, first things first, like I said, we can all agree it's easier to meet people where they already are than to convince them to go somewhere new. I feel like we all feel this as consumers. And this is why I want to give the data that customers track their transactional emails. So, as their order is waiting, they're checking those emails on average 4.6 times per order. So that's a lot of engagement that you might be sending off to a carrier website or just sending customers to a blank non-branded email. So just want to clarify, we are not talking about, your win back or your abandoned cart or any of those marketing automations that Megan was just talking about. We're talking about specifically those order confirmation emails, those shipping updates, those delivery notifications once the order is being tracked to a consumer's home. And these are where the secret gold mines are sitting because on average, transactional emails see an 80 to 90% open rate and a 20 to 30% click-through rate. So if you do the math, that's about 4x higher of an open rate and 10x higher of a click-through rate than marketing emails. So if everyone is seeing these engagement emails and they're seeing engagement really high, you might be asking yourself, well, then why isn't everyone doing this? And here are those two reasons that I was alluding to in the beginning is some brands just aren't even thinking about transactional emails in this way. And that is totally fair because it is such a niche or newer category that you can really use to grow your brand. And some people might think, these are just transactional. They're not meant to be marketing. And I think a lot of that comes from can spam and confusion or worries around can spam. But it is completely compliant to customize these emails. You can put marketing assets in them, promotional materials, product links. But the only caveat is the transactional information has to remain primary. So that's where that can spam, I think, confuses some operators. And that's why we're here today, trying to learn more about it and see what you can do. So because this is such a visual strategy, I want to walk through a typical post-purchase experience because after 4 years of talking directly with founders and operators, I've seen there's just a lot of questions about the post-purchase experience. So I want to make sure everyone's on the same page before we dive into those level 2 strategies. So everyone knows the pre-purchase side of things. A customer buys with on your website, woo, you got the purchase, all that fun stuff. And then after they experience that website, once they place an order, typically brands send customers to an out-of-the-box, either Shopify or Amazon email. And so this is non-branded. It's just a blank white page or has a little bit of text on it. And then that email sends consumers off-site to a carrier tracking website, such as UPS, FedEx, USPX, and it's not branded, totally off brand. And then the experience just dies. So that's why I call this the post-purchase dead zone. I'm a marketer, so I got to give fun names to things. And so it's this interesting dichotomy where we spend so much time on the acquisition side of things. We're thinking about pre-purchase. We want to make sure everything makes sense to our consumer. And then once they purchase, the experience just kind of falls flat and it can feel like a shipping receipt. So that's where there's this huge opportunity. And that brings me to the post-purchase flywheel. Again, gotta love a fun name. And this is how you can turn that post-purchase experience into a strategic growth asset by maximizing what you're already sending to your consumers. So once again, the customer buys from your website. Woo, you got them. You acquired that new customer. All celebrations. And then you can send a series of on-brand transactional emails for every stage of the shipping journey, so they know exactly where their order is, if order is confirmed, in transit, out for delivery, delivered, or if there's an issue with your order or their order. You can also segment by, order was delayed, or pickup is necessary, or delivery attempted. You can segment those things out so that your customers are updated and you're not having to have your support team bombarded with Wismo or where is my support, where's my order support tickets. So they have these emails, and then these emails will send them to a branded order tracking page. And within that tracking page, that's where you can really control what your customers are seeing instead of sending them off website to UPS or FedEx. You can send them right back to your website, and it has targeted CTAs. You can even segment, and that sends your customers back to your website to familiarize themselves with other products or other programs that you may have. And typically we see average repeat purchase rates be in between 1% to 3%, which is huge because there's obviously no extra acquisition costs. You're just getting those repeat purchases, and who wouldn't love that, right? So this is what I mean when I title this session about how to create an owned remarketing channel, because it's different from other remarketing channels like social media. There's no algorithm, there's no bidding war. It is just an owned channel, and you can decide based off your brand's goals and missions and the consumer itself what they should see while they're waiting for their order to track to their home. So again, that is stage one. And if you're not thinking about the transactional experience in this way, that is okay. There's a lot that you can do within that experience alone. So if this is a little bit overwhelming and new, don't be worried. It's a fun space. Trust me, I love it. And now I want to dive deeper into the stage two strategies, because in this margin tight economy, that is what will make the difference, is the consumer experience. And if you can set yourself apart from competitors or other people in the space by just tweaking and being a little bit more intentional with the notifications that you're already sending out to your customers, that will make a difference. So this is the first experiment, or the first test, or the first approach that you could try out for your brand. And that is doing a brand swap within those transactional emails. So remember how I said transactional information has to remain primary in these emails? You can see that on the right. The transactional information is first. And then right below that information is a product swap with another brand. So I'm willing to bet you all know at least one other brand founder or one other operator or another brand that has a complementary product to yours. And you could totally ask them if they want to do something like this, because it really just is an image and then a link that you send to their page. And it works because, one, you increase trust with your own consumers that just bought from you by showing a product that naturally fits with their purchase and it feels organic. And then two, it exposes your brand to a whole new set of consumers when your product is surfaced on that complementary brand's transactional emails. And it's all at no additional cost, right? This is just something that your customers are already checking, and you are making them aware of this additional product or additional value that you bring as a brand. Second thing that you could try is offering a one-time discount, and you can use this. And so they would use that discount in their next order, and you can put a timer on it. Disco does this in a great way because the discount is exclusive, obviously, to your best, most current existing customers. And the timer obviously creates a sense of FOMO and urgency. And as consumers, we can all admit it works on us, right? It works. So you can even consider being more aggressive on that discount amount because you're not paying that additional CAC for that purchase. And so you kind of pass on that to the consumer and allow them to get an additional discount because they just purchased with you, or a higher discount because they just purchased with you. And then number three is you can showcase product education to reduce returns. I love what Brunt is doing here because it gives the customer awareness about how your product may fit or how they can adjust it before they actually get their product in hand. Because let's admit, when we get something new in the mail, we just kind of tear it open and sometimes don't always look at educational inserts that might be in the box. So if you can prep your customer while their order is being transported to their home about how to best use their product or your product, then that will automatically reduce returns and confusion. And so they won't be distracted by their new product in their hands. So I know that that was a lot of information. So if you want to see more email examples of brands and how they're doing this, this is a library of examples that you can download for free. I'll put it in the chat as well. And I'm here to bounce off ideas like all of our panelists. We just want to be here to help and answer any questions. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for sharing a few minutes with me today and wishing you all the best of luck in creating your strategy.